Well, oh well, there might be a little bit of justice here after all. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today I bring you yet another update on the Carlee Russell fiasco. She has been arrested, booked into the jail out there in Hoover, and hit with 2 charges. Now, unfortunately, these are going to be misdemeanors relating to filing a false report, lying about the baby, and then lying about being kidnapped. Now, she could go to jail over this, up to a year in jail, and I think there's a fine of up to about $6,000. Now, I understand this is going to cause quite a bit of reaction. Some are going to say it's a slap on the wrist, it's nothing. She had the whole nation divided. We were all rooting for her, all this and that, and the third. There should be a different penalty. I understand that point of view 100%. But at the same time, it's like, what are you going to charge her with? Because ultimately, she just lied. She just lied about the baby and lied about being kidnapped. So what's the actual charge here? It's not perjury because she was not in court lying. So I don't really know what the charge could be. Now, I think she should go to jail over this. There should be punishment, but I don't know what more they could charge her with other than what they charged her with. Now, some are going to say this is appropriate. I think a year or less, maybe 3 months, 6 months in jail, a fine. I think that's appropriate, especially when you have other guys, Juicy Smouye, many others, who get 0 time, 0 punishment, 0 accountability if they give her something that's better than nothing. I see that point of view as well, 100%. But I'm glad that they're doing something. For me personally, I'm glad we got some kind of traction, some kind of accountability, because I think people will see this and determine their next course of action based upon what happens. And what I mean by that is, if she faces no penalty and it's okay, others are going to try to do it and be like, you know what? Well, hey, she didn't go to jail. She didn't get any kind of trouble. So I'm going to do what she did better than her. And if I get caught and, oh, well, I'm not going to jail anyway, it's a risk worth taking. So I think this was a good decision. Now, before I go any further into my opinion, we have a local news clip to roll. This is currently playing live. I'm going to go back to when my man came out and read the charges and answered some questions. After we get done watching that, I'm going to also read an article. If you want to see this right here, I will link to it in the box. If you're on IG, visit a link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
With that, I will turn it over to Chief Durgis.
Thank you, Captain. Good afternoon.
By the way, these jackets are always Easter morning church service fresh, but I digress.
Earlier today, Hoover Police detectives obtained warrants for the arrest of Carlee Russell through the Hoover Municipal Court for her actions related to faking her kidnapping and subsequently making false statements to detectives as they investigated this case. Her decisions that night created panic and alarm for the citizens of our city and even across the nation as the concern grew that a kidnapper was on the loose using a small child as bait. Numerous law enforcement agencies, both local and federal, began working tirelessly not only to bring Carlee home to her family, but locate a kidnapper that we know now never existed. Many private citizens volunteered their time and energy into looking for a potential kidnapping victim that we know now was never in any danger. This story opened wounds for families whose loved ones really were victims of kidnappings, some of which even helped organize searches in hopes they could find Carlee's alive so her family would not experience the pain and suffering that they felt when their loved ones never returned home. As we know, actions can have consequences, and that's why we're here today. This afternoon, Carlee Russell, with the assistance of her attorney, turned herself into the Hoover City Jail, where she was arrested for the following charges: false reporting to law enforcement authorities, Class A misdemeanor, $1,000 bond; falsely reporting an incident, a Class A misdemeanor with a $1,000 bond. Each of these charges carry up to a year in jail and potential fine of $6,000 upon conviction. Ms. Russell was released from jail after posting bond.
So I think they said each of the charges has up to 1 year in jail and $6,000 in penalty. Let me just I'll go back a little bit and see if I heard that correctly.
Following charges: false reporting to law enforcement authorities, Class A misdemeanor, $1,000 bond. Falsely report an incident, a Class A misdemeanor with a $1,000 bond. Each of these charges carry up to a year in jail and potential fine of $6,000 upon conviction. Ms. Russell was released from jail after posting bond. We initially presented this case to District Attorney Lanice Washington, who agreed to handle prosecution through district court. After consulting with the Circuit Court of Jefferson County Bessemer Division, the case was referred back to municipal court for charging because the only applicable charges were misdemeanors. Judging from the amount of phone calls and emails that we've received from people all over the country, I know many are shocked and appalled that Ms. Russell is only being charged with 2 misdemeanors.
Let's pause right here. Now, the news of the actual charges came out before the chief read them. It was already on Fox. It was already all over the place. It had leaked out to the media before he came out and said it. So right when it leaked, they're calling the police out there like, what's going on? Misdemeanors, just 2 charges, a year in jail. They're probably going to stack them concurrent and say, okay, just 1 year max. And it probably won't be that long. And the small fine, people are upset because they already knew what was going on before you said it.
Despite all the panic and disruption her actions caused, let me assure you, I too share the same frustration, but existing laws only allow the charges that were filed to be filed. I can tell you that I will be contacting our state legislatures on behalf of law enforcement in Montgomery and asking them to look at this law applied to these facts and urge them to add an enhancement to current legislation when somebody falsely reports kidnapping or another violent crime. Because of the attention this case has garnered, we've requested Attorney General Steve Marshall's office adopt this case, and they've agreed to do so. The Hoover Police Department wants to thank everyone that assisted us from the beginning and continues to assist us in this case as we work its way through the criminal justice system. Joining me at the podium today is State of Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall.
Okay, so there's more, of course. I will link to this full video. It's a pretty lengthy video. It was a live stream. And shout out to my man that was covering it. I don't know his name, but he did a very good job. I think this is WFLA, hashtag HeyJB. So shout out to him for making that happen. But I think there's also an article that I want to get to here. Just before we wrap it on up, put the bow clean on it. All right, you see what's going on here. You see Carlee. It says Carlee Russell charged. Okay, ads, get out the way. Anyway, Carlee Russell charged in connection with kidnapping hoax. 25-year-old nursing student initially told police she had been abducted in the time she was missing. Her attorney later sent a letter saying her claims were false. Now, to go back briefly to the press conference, I watched more of that than what I showed. There were a few questions asked of the police chief, and one of the main things was, do we know if she was with anybody else? Do we have any leads about her having any kind of accomplice? And he said, we don't know anything about that. All that we know is what we know, that she lied to us. It didn't happen, but we don't know where she was. We don't know if she was with somebody else. We don't know these things. And I think if that information comes out, there could be potential other charges, I suppose. I'm not really sure, but they don't know where she was. Now, she had to have been somewhere. How do you just vanish for 48 hours? All right. Was she in the woods the whole time? I doubt it. You're in the woods that long, you're going to have ticks and rats and cats and bats and all kind of stuff all on your body. It's not going to be very good for you. Being out there in the woods, it's damp, it's water, it's hot. It's just, it makes no sense to be out there in the Alabama woods for 48 hours straight and you just emerge totally fine. She probably was with somebody, but that person has not been identified or there's no suspect or anything like that. And if there is a suspect, we do not know as a general public and the police are not telling us, but that's what's going on. So you see right here, she was gone 49 hours. She confessed it was a lie, 2 misdemeanors in connection to, with the hoax. And then she got arrested, like turned herself in, went to jail, and there will be a mugshot. Maybe by the time I get done recording this, there's going to be a mugshot available. I will throw that right on the screen for you guys if I'm able to procure it. Okay, so she went to the Hoover City Jail, 2 misdemeanors, false reporting to law enforcement, and falsely reporting an incident. And she was released after posting bail. All right, so that's what it is, what we have so far. Carlee Russell has been arrested, hit with 2 misdemeanor counts. Some are going to say, not enough. Throw her up under the penitentiary, big rocks, little rocks. Some are going to say, well, it makes sense. That's fair. Some are going to say she shouldn't be in jail at all. I'm not sure who's going to say that. But as I close, I want to say this. Please stop doing this. You want attention. You want something happening in your life. Don't call the police and make up a story. Like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? Like this, just don't do it. To anyone out there, if you need some attention, you need a hug, I mean, just go get that a normal way, okay? Ask your mama and your daddy for a hug. Don't just make up a lie, have the whole community looking for you. There was one lady out there in Hoover who had lost her child, and then she was really motivated, emotionally behind trying to find Carlee, only to find out that it was a lie from the very beginning. This was really crazy. She probably didn't think it would get as big as what it did. It did get big. And now here we are. You're about to go to jail, hopefully. Even if just for a small time, you got to face accountability for your actions. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what's going on here with Carlee Russell finally getting arrested out there in Hoover, Alabama? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I'm glad there is some accountability. Should there be more? Perhaps. Could there be more? I don't really know. But I'm glad we're getting something. And I don't think she's going to be able to evade the jail time, because if that was the case, then they wouldn't have charged her at all. What's the point in charging somebody and then booking them into jail, giving them a bond to only not have any intentions of locking her up at all? Doesn't make any sense to me. So I think she will go to jail, just not for a long time, probably not for the year. Definitely not for 2 years stacked, back to back. If anything, you'll have both other charges concurrent. Maybe you do 3 to 6 months at best. But regardless of what's going on, I'm just glad that there is some kind of accountability. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.